What do we have for Gemini? Two of Swords, Libra energy at the foundation of the reading, Gemini. Gemini, the download that I have for you was that further details aren't necessary. The decision has been made based on what you already know. And then we get the Two of Swords, which is probably the one card that I feel would represent this download the best, because it really speaks about some sort of confusion around making a decision, but you're at the point now where it's actually been made. Now, I feel that there's somebody related to some sort of situation that is trying to get you to change your mind by compounding details, is what I heard. And Gemini, this has something to do with a very big decision that you are making. It's one of these decisions that will change the trajectory of your life. Now, this is something that I usually speak about, and I feel that every decision we make in every given moment, obviously, has an influence on the trajectory of our life. But there are some of those decisions that are like big turns in the road. They're like chapter markers. They're the ones that you remember. And this is what I'm getting here. I feel that you are being aligned to do something, Gemini, that is going to see you in a position where you are placed to make others feel seen within your words and mind, is what I just heard. Now, the simplest way I can put this is that your path leads you to be in position to bring forward some sort of creation that, again, makes others feel seen. But it's something that's coming from your experiences, something that is being manifested by way of your mind. And they really want me to emphasize mind in your reading here, Gemini, because you are the archetype that best represents the mind. That is your wheelhouse. I feel that 2025 is going to see you speaking your truth boldly, Gemini, but the divine is asking you to choose your words with care. It's as if every word that you utter, every conversation you have with another has the potential to shift the trajectory of your path. Everything matters. It's as if there's all these opportunities that are going to begin presenting themselves to you without you even knowing it, that could potentially begin to open new doors for you. So again, the divine is asking you to really start getting used to composing yourself in a very structured, very deliberate, and very controlled manner. There's something about you at this time, Gemini, that is allowing you to see shades of color that others don't. And it's very important that you're allowing your curiosity to lead you at this time, Gemini. If something is really sparking your interest, follow that. See where it leads. Whether it's some kind of new hobby, a new connection that you have, seize the moment and the opportunities, because I feel that it's quite possibly down some of these paths that you follow that lead to some sort of new door opening up for you. And if I was to, again, simplify everything I'm saying there, I feel like now's the time to really say yes, Gemini. Now, obviously, you must use your better discernment, and everything is circumstantial, but it's as if the divine is trying to bring opportunity into your life. But it's up to you to discover the path and unlock the door. What do we have? The sacral, please. 5 of Cups, Scorpio energy at the sacral. Gemini, this new door that is trying to present itself to you is not going to be down a path that you have gone down before. This is not like anything you've experienced on your path. It's a completely new energy that I'm picking up here. There's also something about your approach and not holding on to disappointments of the past, or rather living in the past. Understand that all paths that you have gone down up until this point that may have led to a dead end or some sort of failure were all a part of a divine plan to narrow your options to this new breakthrough. This is also something that I mention quite often, that failure is something that we need to embrace because it narrows the possibilities that come before us. And with determination, eventually you get the breakthrough. Really, it's simple math. But the way our lives are constructed wants us to marinate in that failure as opposed to getting up and pushing forward, which really speaks about an opposing force in this universe that wants to see us give up in the face of adversity. I feel for a lot of you Geminis, this is going to come down to a select number of people that may be in your environments that are trying to discourage you from moving in a certain direction. Gemini, duality is your art, and you heal the world by knowing your heart. And I just heard shadows and suns. Gemini, I'm also getting something here surrounding quieting your mind. In the stillness of your mind, you're going to start to hear a kind of soft call. Well, it's your inner voice speaking to you through the chatter of your thoughts, the chatter that just echoes down the halls of your mind. It's not asking for answers, but truths that are yet untold. I feel like you are weaving a story that is made of pure gold, Gemini. And the way I'm channeling through these messages is like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. So it very much feels like there's this kind of riddle that you must engage with to unlock the secrets that lead you down this path and through this new door. And all of this can be found in those moments of silence, when spirit has access to your mind and is able to sweep out the clutter with one clean swoop, allowing for a divine download to absorb into you and provide you with the necessary steps to make your way forward. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Wow. 3 of Wands, Aries energy. Unbelievable. Because this card is really representing everything I just channeled through for you. 3 of Wands is all about pursuing, I just heard the unknown road. It's a visionary kind of energy, but it's encouraging you to expand. And there's an energy here. I mean, you could see very clearly. It's like you've come down this path and you've arrived. You're like, oh, wait, I've never been down this path before. It feels like you are finally onto something. It feels like you get a breakthrough. And Gemini, there's something here surrounding your mind and self-doubt. You may be battling with this at the moment, feeling like what you're trying to move towards is outside of your grasp, or maybe you feel like it's just not possible. Some of you may feel like you're unprepared, or maybe you're just overwhelmed, sick and tired of all of the setbacks. But you need to reframe your mindset and refocus. You need to understand the setbacks, the delays, the self-doubt, all of this, again, was to narrow your options. Once you find this path, everything will begin to crystallize, and everything you have gone through up until this very moment will make sense, because you will start to understand that it all had to unfold exactly the way it did to get you to this very moment. Gemini, I feel that you're finally going to be able to enter into a space where you're able to honor your journey. You're going to look back at how far you've come, and you're not going to do it with criticism this time. Not like you have before. You're going to do it with pride. You've grown in a lot of ways that you've completely overlooked, but this is all going to change, Gemini, when you finally uncover this path. It's as if everything just begins to connect like this beautiful web that somehow connects everything that has taken place up until this very point, which illuminates a kind of path. Right now, I'm seeing you laying in a field, Gemini, looking up at a starlit sky, tracing with your fingers a sort of roadmap to the stars. And then right on the bottom of the deck, I have the High Priestess. So this would be the card that I would choose to really represent everything I just said, Gemini. There's this sense of divine guidance and purpose that is surrounding all of you right now. And though a lot of you may feel very uncertain, some of you feel out of alignment, some of you also feel unseen, it's going to shift soon, Gemini. You'll see. As long as you've been putting the work in, as long as you're holding on to your faith, you will have something, oh, I just heard tangible, to show for all the trials and tribulations that you have been through to arrive at this new point in your journey. Let's switch decks. What do we have at the heart, please? Page of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the heart. There's a new beginning here, Gemini. There's an energy of synchronicity. I feel that a lot of you could actually be seeing this unfolding already in your everyday waking life. Maybe you think about something and then you hear about it, or you think of a song and it comes on, or you start to see number sequences. There's so many different ways that synchronicities can show up in your life. But I truly believe, Gemini, that these are all signs from the divine that you are getting hot, right? The closer you get to aligning with this path, the more the synchronicities increase. It's like they're little winks from the divine to let you know that, hey, you're almost there. Some of these occurrences may be strange. And I say that because we see this bird dropping this fish in this cup, right? And this person's like, what? What are the chances? What I've learned on my journey, Gemini, is that God, the divine spirit, are actually very funny. There's a sort of comical nature by the way we experience these synchronicities. And the more lighthearted you can actually be, and the more you can laugh with spirit, the universe, and God, the closer and closer you get to said destination. There's something to be said about humor and the awakening process, or ascension, or alignment, because of how truly difficult it is. This is why you quite often will hear me lacing a bit of humor in my readings, because the subject matter can get heavy, and it helps if we can get a laugh or two in there, because it allows us to take some of the pressure off and try and look at things from a higher perspective, which causes you to see the restrictions you have faced on your path, or individuals that may have come against you and opposed you, well, as kind of limited, right? They just don't see things from the perspective that you're at. So rather than facing off in anger, you reach an understanding that they're just not quite there yet. However that resonates for you, Gemini. And I feel that a handful of you really needed to hear that put exactly that way, because it's really going to help you to push past some of the things that you may be dealing with in your life. You know, Gemini, I've faced some really horrendous things on my path, and I always hear, you have to forgive people. You have to just forgive the situations, and I fully understand that. But there are some things that are difficult to forgive because of how deliberate an action is towards you. A really simple example of this is somebody who deliberately tried to physically harm you, and maybe they continue to still do this. It's very difficult to forgive those kinds of people, but you can look at them from the perspective of limited. They just don't see what they're doing. They don't understand what they're doing because the possession has truly taken them over. Forgiveness, it's an art, very difficult. But you have to understand, Gemini, it's not about them. It's about you. It's about freeing you. This is what this is all about. If there's anything that you're holding on to that shackles you to the past, or these people, or these events and situations, you must let it go, because if you don't, you're allowing them to have that win over you. They've really got you right where they want you. What do we have at the throat, please? Wheel of Fortune, Sag energy at the throat. Perfect. I feel like we manifested the Wheel of Fortune here, because most of what we have spoken about can also be reduced to the Wheel of Fortune. This is representing this turning point. It represents life cycles. It represents your destiny, Gemini. This is what this is all about. I feel for you, the way you unlock your destiny, Gemini, is through your mind, through your mindsets, through your perception, through the way you interface with your reality and the way you interact with it. Makes perfect sense. The divine is asking you to recalculate the resistance that you have faced on your path, Gemini, as a means to no longer see it as restriction, as a delay, as something that has created stagnation in your life, but rather as something that doesn't even exist to begin with. You see, Gemini, as you're going through this ascension process, you'll start to look back at all of this resistance that you have faced on your path up until this point from a much higher perspective. It goes from something that stopped you dead in your tracks to something that you see so insignificant that it begins to dissipate at the mere thought of it. Now, to simplify what I am trying to convey to you here, Gemini, is that any obstacle that you have on your path is not something you need to go around. It's not something you need to go through. It's something that you must overcome with your mind, in that it cannot and will not hold you back or stop you from your forward momentum any further. It's simply beneath you. It's limited. And when you are able to take on this mindset, Gemini, that energy that once seemed so overwhelming will cease to exist. You'll completely disempower it. Similar to when a big bad monster is standing before you, but you have the understanding that it's only a big bad monster because it is actually scared and trying to hide its fear at all costs. You simply laugh and the monster is no more. Gemini, the past doesn't own you. If a narrative about yourself no longer resonates, rewrite it. You have the flexibility and the wit to reinvent yourself whenever you choose. And it's time, Gemini, that you no longer think about what you want, but rather you start taking tangible steps, even if they're small, right? The power of small. I've spoken about this before. It's when something may seem overwhelming, like you don't know how you're going to pull it off or overcome it, however that resonates for you. But you just commit to taking small chunks, small pieces, small steps in the knowing and with the faith that eventually you will break through to the other side. And I say faith, Gemini, because once you start to understand this, this is when you truly allow the universe to meet you halfway, which is a result of you showing the universe how serious you are about your goals. What do we have at the third eye, please? Too many cards. There's a Page of Cups again. Interesting. This Page of Cups is a little different, though. The fish is slipping out of the cup here. And I connected that to maybe strange occurrences, signs, synchronicities. Strange occurrences don't have to be bad. I just feel that they're almost unexplainable, right? Like the bird dropping the fish in your cup. But I feel like this right here is a message of not paying attention, letting things slip by. Yeah, the universe is really trying to get your attention right now, Gemini. 5 of Pentacles at the third eye. It's like you're in between worlds. Well, this would really represent this Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is the path that we're speaking of, right? Where this door is. And then this other path is what you've always known. There seems to be a bit of tug of war going on there. It could just be that these winds of change, so to speak, Gemini, are making you feel a bit anxious. I totally get it. The uncertainty, the not knowing, this has a way of creeping in and consuming us. But you need to understand that the winds of change are on your side. They're not against you. You're built for times like these. You just really need to embrace this shifting energy, Gemini, and trust that adaptability is your greatest ally here, right? Transformation, is really just another word for opportunity. And this is what this is, an opportunity for change. And this is never an easy path to take. It's not a smooth journey. It's bumpy. There's a lot of turbulence. It's like a birthing process taking place in your life. But one thing I can tell you for sure, Gemini, is that it's going to be a whole lot better than this. This is what you've always dealt with. There's this new sense of hope that's wanting to flood into your life, Gemini. Actually, let me rephrase that. There's a new sense of hope that is going to flood into your life, rather, because I know that you're going to take this path, whatever this represents for each one of you Geminis individually. Your thoughts are so powerful right now, Gemini. It's like they're all seeds that you sow. If you can think it, you can do it, Gemini. Your old life is going to cost you your new one, right? There's always something that needs to be sacrificed. Don't forget that. What no longer serves you must be handed over to the universe. Person, place, thing, behavioral pattern, mindset. What do we have at the crown, please? Judgment. Pluto, Scorpio energy at the crown. Wow. Unbelievable. It's like here you are holding on to whatever this is here for dear life. You're like, no, I can't let it go, right? And then Judgment's like, come on, Gemini, let's go. Everybody's waiting for you. This judgment is representing your path, your purpose, this awakening that's taking place in your life. And I get it. We all deal with this in some capacity. And again, it's not meant to be easy. It gets easier the more that you do this because you know what to expect and you're less likely to allow yourself to become too dependent on anything that isn't serving your highest good. In other words, you're able to discern these things before they have too much of an impact in your life. You know, a lot of things now that I'm able to release with ease in my life, Gemini, were things that many years ago I had a lot of difficulty releasing. You know, if a toxic person tries to make their way into my life now, I handle it in a much different way than I once did. You know, in the past, I would have allowed these people or these situations, whatever it may be, behavioral patterns, to hang around for way too long before allowing them to cause irreparable damage, or rather, damage that would take years to get on the other side of. And for me personally, it had to do with my own self-worth. When these things would happen, I would quite often find fault in myself, thinking that somehow I deserved it. And now I know better. So I know all too well how this goes, Gemini, okay? But all I can say is that even though you have to get used to doing this, it does become easier, and by God, it is so worth it, Gemini. When you begin to fill all corners of your life with energy that actually reciprocates, with energy that wants to be in a giving and receiving space with you, and with energies that serve you, well, this is when you truly begin to come into calibration with your true north. You have a mission here. You don't have time to waste on anybody who's going to try and make that more difficult for you, Gemini, or anything. Doesn't always have to be people. It could be your own mind, story you tell yourself, which probably can be reduced to having its origins in something that was projected onto you by another person. So it really just depends. It's all circumstantial. But I think you'll understand what I'm saying here, Gemini. I'm curious to know what it is that's holding you all back. So if you feel guided to, leave a comment down below. Maybe say it's a person, it's a place, it's a thing, it's a mindset, it's an addiction, it's a behavioral pattern. Or if you feel like opening up a bit more, tell us your story. A lot of people read the comments. There's a community down there, and they sort of add another layer to these readings. There's additional support and guidance that we can get in the comments. It helps me tremendously when I read the comments and how all of you react to the readings. It blows my mind how much the messages can resonate with people. It's truly magical. So I'd appreciate it, Gemini, and I know other people would too, but only if you feel guided to do so. What do we have at the foundation, please? Ace of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy at the foundation of the reading. So this Ace of Cups here, I feel is representing this other path, okay? The path that you've been on. The path that is not in alignment with your highest good. You Geminis are completely emotionally exhausted by this situation. It's left you mentally and physically depleted. Nothing here is going to change. Somebody really needed to hear that. Yeah, there's a handful of you out there that are thinking that, oh, I'll just give it another try and maybe it will change. It's not, okay? Gemini, we're past that point now. I just heard it's time you do for you, and you understand that you have a responsibility to your mission, Gemini. And once you begin to embrace this, you are going to have this massive sense of purpose begin to flood into your life. You'll begin to feel excited to wake up each day. You'll look forward to all the things that you're co-creating with the divine. You'll have a nonstop flow of ideas. You'll truly understand your place in the universe, and you'll embrace it without hesitation, without the need for external validation. You will become the person that you were always meant to be, and you'll finally be able to heal that inner child that kept you from the person you were always meant to be. See, we need to nurture and heal that inner child, because that inner child is what houses everything that holds us back. It's where all the hurt, where all the pain comes from. It doesn't know any better. It thinks that by just hiding away, it's keeping us safe, but it doesn't understand that that is a direct result of the opposing force. That's the goal of the enemy. See, Gemini, you need to take the wheel, put your inner child in the passenger seat. And there's really no better way to explain that. What do we have at the sacral, please? Wow. Seven of Pentacles, Navarius at the sacral. Now, this Seven of Pentacles, whenever I see it, it's a crow, clearly sitting on what looks to be an urn of ashes, right? It's like these are the ashes that you rise up out of, right? The ashes of the past. But this crow looks like they're keeping it from you. Now, this crow can represent your inner child or your shadow self, the parts of you that need to be healed, but that can also no longer be allowed to steer the ship of your life, so to speak. Because in doing so, you are not able to engage with this transformation and step into this new timeline where this beginning is. This reading is incredibly layered, complex, but the way they're giving me the messages is quite profound, and I feel that each message is tailored for a specific group of you out there. So the messages are coming through in a way that I think are going to resonate differently with some of you than, say, the way they make me feel when I'm saying them, okay? Which is just a complex way of me saying that I am purely but a vessel here for you, Gemini. These messages are all for you, and what you do with them is what was meant to become of them. Gemini, you need to understand that others may try to sway you, but you know deep down what feels right, and it's time that you start honoring that. Trust your instincts. They're sharper than ever right now, so take advantage of it. There could be some lessons surrounding boundaries that are resurfacing right now, Gemini. You may need to renegotiate some agreements or commitments that you may have in place in your life to be able to align with your evolving values, so do not be afraid to do so. Step forward with boldness and don't allow fear to creep in and hold you back from what you know you rightfully deserve. And then right on the bottom of the deck, I have the Lover's card. So Gemini, that's your energy there. However, this Lover's card is red. It's like red is Lovers in its negative polarity, which can represent an energy of arguments, some sort of misaligned values here. So this can really reinforce what I was saying here about renegotiating any sorts of agreements or commitments that you may have in place in your life. What do we have at the solar plexus, please? Ace of Pentacles, Lucifuge, Raphael, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy at the solar plexus. Yeah, there's an energy here that is trying to get you to miss out on an opportunity, Gemini. Now, it could be something in particular, or it could just be the opportunity to align with your true north here and get on your path. And I just heard, give freely, but fiercely guard your own flame. Again, I'm getting something around boundaries here. Okay, now I'm hearing something about a setup, right? Now, I feel that this could just speak about somebody doing something to kind of checkmate you to where you can't move forward. Gemini, you can't do that because, you got to take care of this. You have this responsibility. You have this bill due or something. There's thousands of you that I'm reading for, so place that as you see fit. But I just think it's a warning to just be careful and not put yourself in a position to where you can be taken advantage of, or I just heard have the wool pulled over your eyes. Okay, what do we have at the heart, please? Ten of Cups in its negative polarity. Yeah, there's something here. For some of you, it's going to be family. For some of you, it's going to be friends. For some of you, it's going to be a toxic relationship. For some, it could be a broken home or marriage, okay? But there seems to be something here that is holding you back. I'm seeing shackles in my mind's eye. It's like you're trying to spread your wings and fly, okay? I know that sounds a bit cliche, but they wanted me to say that for the sake of a clear visual representation. And the Ten of Cups can really speak about some sort of failed plans. I feel like somebody or something is trying to stifle you. And for some of you, this can definitely come down to a mindset. It's like stifling yourself, being your own worst enemy. But you're going to have to place that as you see fit. For some of you, it's both people external to you and your own mindset, which could be the result of the people, of your surroundings, right? That's actually very common. Eventually, their words, their lack of support has a way of seeping in to your subconscious mind. And then before you know it, you become your own worst enemy. It's like they have you right where they want you because now you're just self-sabotaging, which allows the enemy to go unnoticed, right? That's how the devil works. See, the devil works in a very calculated fashion to not be obvious in his attempt to stop you on your path, but rather to create obstacles on your path that just get you to give up on yourself, right? Self-sabotage. You need to be mindful of this, Gemini. When you hear those dark thoughts creep in, the ones that aren't yours, you need to catch them. You need to catch yourself. Perfect. And then we have the King of Pentacles. And look what it says right there. Obedience, right? Reinforces everything I just said. Being obedient to yourself, the Most High, your purpose, your mission, your destiny, understanding that this is how the devil works. The devil is not a single entity. There's many devils. The devil is just a spirit. Yes, there's a kind of single point where all of these tentacles of the devil all come from. But what you all deal with in your lives are agents of the devil. We all have many devils in our life, but you will become better at discerning, Gemini. Once you get past this, you're going to be well equipped for whatever comes your way. Will you face devils again in your life? Absolutely. You will for the rest of your days. It's just how it goes. But you get to the point where you become so good at navigating all of the devil's tactics towards you that it's no longer something that you really even think about. You just go about your everyday life existing in the knowing that a part of life is navigating the weapons that the devil tries to form against you. Emphasis on tries. You see, it goes back to what I said about self-sabotage, right? It can only get to you if you allow him to get to you. So whatever that looks like for you, Gemini, don't allow it. Don't give the devil an audience. What do we have at the throat, please? Wow. Perfect. Death. Mumia. God, the end of the universe. Endings and rebirth. Influences health and longevity. Scorpio energy. So here we are now, right here. Crow's sitting on this urn of ashes. The ashes that you're supposed to rise up out of like the phoenix. And then what do we get? The death card, which represents the phoenix rising up out of the ashes. That's what this energy is. The end of the universe as you once knew it, and the beginning of the new. One where you are on top of the wheel of fortune. There's a major beginning here for you, Gemini. I feel that this is preparing to unfold for you in 2025. If you use this as a blueprint to navigate these energies, it's available to you. But you have to leave whatever this is here in the dust behind. It can't go with you. And then Two of Wands right on the bottom of the deck, Aries energy. The Two of Wands from this deck I love because it almost looks like you're holding your pulse. Like, is this even real? I can't even believe this is reality. And you're looking back, right? You look a little worse for wear. You're kind of upset and you're like, you guys are so evil. I can't believe all of you, just a bunch of demons trying to hold me back on my path. And this angel meant to soar. Why would you hold me back? What's wrong with you? Right? Victory over those who would attack you. What do we have at the third eye, please? King of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy at the third eye. The exalted God, victory. Grants victory and protection from lightning. Okay, so now we're seeing very clearly here that any weapons that are formed against you will not prosper because you have accepted your mission, you're on your path. And this is how this works. The weapons that are formed against you stop prospering when you actually accept your mission. Until then, they'll keep prospering as a means to push you into alignment with your path. A lot of people don't get that, Gemini, but that's really the truth. We're down here because we have to work on our mission. And unless we do so, we are open to all the enemy's attacks. Because what you're telling the universe and the divine is that you're good. You know, you don't want to accept your mission. And I speak about this all the time. It's like when you accept your mission, the divine brings through protection to help you, right? But until you accept that mission, you're basically saying, nah, Divine, I'm good. I'm not interested. Divine's like, oh, okay. Well, we can't give you protection until you accept the mission. See, but again, most people don't get this. They like to argue that as well. But eventually they'll learn. They all do. And then right on the bottom of the deck, I have the 10 of Cups here. So this 10 of Cups I love because it shows all three versions of you, Gemini. There's your higher self, the you in the here and now, and then your inner child, right? See how the inner child's kind of crying on your lap, and you're consoling the inner child, loving on the inner child, and then your higher self is like, good job, you get it now. There's this sort of grand alignment taking place with all three versions of you. And then Judgment again, okay? So Judgment twice. What do we have with the Crown to close this out for Gemini, please, Spirit? Queen of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy at the Crown to close out the reading. Mevahia, the eternal God, intellectual lucidity, provides consolation and compensation. Okay, so this Queen of Pentacles is really speaking to me about what is waiting for you on the other side. There seems to be a focus on your stability, your security, right? Which is what I was just speaking about. Your spiritual security, so to speak. But there seems to be this energy of a coming together taking place in your life, which goes back to that 10 of Cups that I just saw. It's like this grand alignment that I'm picking up on with you and your higher self. So to simplify all of that, Gemini, we are seeing very clearly here that by accepting the mission, by following the blueprint, you make it to the other side and are finally able to look back on your path up until that very moment and truly see how far you've come, but with perspective. You can see things in a way that you haven't seen them before because you are now outside of the fishbowl, so to speak. And Gemini, in closing, I'm hearing that your mind may crave stimulation at this time, but your soul thrives when you give it space to breathe. You need to take time to pause and reflect because the breakthroughs are going to be found in these quiet moments, which is a perfect message to end on, Gemini, because this is a message of quieting your mind as a means to hear the voice of spirit to find your way through. Gemini, this is the message I have available to all of you, depending on where you are on this timeline, should you choose to accept. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like a personal reading, you can find all of my contact details in the description below this video. And thank you for your donations, Gemini. Take care.